My cousin married my controlling ex, lied about me to everyone, dragged me in her wedding speech, got cut off by her own mother, then tried to break into my house late at night. My cousin Julia, who is 27, ended up marrying my ex-boyfriend Louis. He is 29 and, to put it bluntly, one of the most controlling people I have ever met. It did not stop there. After they got together, they spread lies about me to the whole family. They even brought me up in their wedding speech just to insult me. That night ended with Julia getting cut off by her own mother and later trying to force her way into my house. Let me back up. I dated Louis for 3 years. We got together after he finished college, and I was still in my second year. Things started okay, but by the time I turned 20, it was over. He broke up with me a couple of weeks after my birthday. That relationship was my first serious one, and looking back, I regret every second of it. On paper, we looked like a great match. But the truth was very different. He was insecure, constantly checking in on me, and never let me have time to myself. I could not go out with my friends, especially to places like bars, and he did not even want me talking to male friends. He had to know where I was at all times. If I ever made a decision he did not like, he would twist the story until I felt like I was the problem. I was trying way too hard to hold on to him. I bent over backwards, thinking if I just did more, maybe he would stay. But it never worked. He broke it off with me, told me things were not working out, then blocked me on everything so I could not even talk to him. I tried reaching out at first, but he disappeared completely. 2 months later, I heard he was already seeing someone new. That whole thing just felt like a waste of time. I had no interest in staying in touch with him. For a couple of years, we had no contact. Then, out of nowhere, when I turned 25, he unblocked me and sent me a birthday message. I did not reply. I had already moved on and was with someone else. But he kept texting me, even without getting a single word back. Eventually, I had to block him again. A few months after that, Julia invited me over. I went, thinking it was just a normal visit. She said she wanted me to meet someone, and there he was. Louis. She said the reason he had texted me before was to clear the air before I found out they were dating. Turns out, they had met at work and were serious about each other. Julia and I had been close since we were little kids. So hearing that she was dating someone who hurt me that much, it felt like getting hit in the gut. She knew everything about how bad that relationship was for me. She even said she understood it would make me uncomfortable but asked me to give him a chance. I wanted to, I really did. But I just could not do it. Louis had caused me a lot of emotional pain. He was my first real relationship. Before him, I had nothing more than high school crushes. And he wrecked that whole chapter of my life. I told Julia I wanted the best for her, but I could not be part of her life anymore if she was going to be with him. She tried reaching out after that, but I kept my distance. She of all people should have known better. She saw firsthand what I went through, yet she still chose him. She insisted he had changed, that he was a different man now. Maybe so, but I had every right to keep both of them out of my life. That was the line for me. Julia and I had always been close, but this crossed too far. After that conversation, I pretty much stopped talking to her. Over the last 2 years, our relationship has stayed cold. We would see each other at family events and just pretend like we were strangers. We used to be the pair who stuck together and whispered about everything. Now, we were just two people in the same room. I never went around bad-mouthing her, but she sure took another route. I guess she took it personal when I backed away. Because she started telling people I was the reason Louis and I broke up. That I was the one without morals. She and Louis started spreading stories, saying I would flirt with other guys while I was still with him. That was why, they said, he acted so jealous and controlling. That was a lie, plain and simple. It was always him being too friendly with other women and expecting me to keep quiet about it. When I had male friends, strictly platonic ones, he would throw a fit. Then he would twist things around and tell me I was imagining the whole problem. He wanted me cut off from anyone he did not approve of. As much as their lies annoyed me, I had more important things to focus on. I figured people who knew me would not believe that nonsense anyway. I never reacted, because I knew that is what they wanted to get under my skin. Now, if I really wanted to shut it down, I could have. Julia's mother is a federal judge and also happens to be my aunt. She does not play around. If I had gone to her, she would have put a stop to all of it immediately. But I did not want to drag her into the middle of something so petty. Even though Julia and I had drifted apart, I still had a solid relationship with her mom. It made no sense to me how Julia ended up this way, with a mother as strong and decent as hers. I knew I could shut it down with one conversation, but I also knew it would hurt Julia. She was still depending on her mom for money. She had started a small jewelry business that was not doing too well. If her mom cut her off, things would get tough real fast. So I kept quiet and waited. I wanted to see how far they would go. And sure enough, my cousins kept coming back to me with the things Julia was saying behind my back. At that point, it had become something I almost laughed at. About 6 months ago, Julia and Louis got engaged. My parents got an invitation, but I did not. I was not surprised. Even if they had sent me one, I would not have gone. After all that had gone down, there was no way I would show up. 3 days ago, they tied the knot. It was just a regular day for me until my phone started lighting up with messages from relatives. Everyone was talking about a speech the two of them gave at the wedding. I was confused at first, but then my parents called and told me what was said, and I was furious. They used their wedding day as a chance to trash me in front of the whole family. They did not say my name, but they made it obvious. They mentioned an ex-girlfriend who was not invited, blamed her for past drama, called her toxic, accused her of being a flirt and a gold digger. Said she relied on Louis for money while they were dating and that she expected him to cover everything because she was just a student. None of it was true. I always paid my share. I never once asked him for anything. And the worst part? They said I cheated on him. That was the big lie that supposedly ended the relationship. Then they gave everyone a choice, me or them. They said if I was at any family event, they would not be showing up. Real mature move for a wedding day, right? My phone blew up afterward. I only learned the details from my parents, who had walked out of the reception as soon as the speech was over. They were disgusted. They also said my aunt was confused and upset. She had asked if what Julia said was true because it did not sound like something I would ever do. And she was right, it was all lies. That was the last straw for me. I decided to dig through old messages, determined to prove they were making it all up. It took a while, but I found them. Screenshots from when Louis and I were breaking up. Messages where he told me he regretted ever dating me, that he wasted his time with me, and that now he could finally see other women. Not one word about cheating. I even found more messages from before that, showing how toxic he was. I posted all of it online, no caption, no explanation, just the screenshots. I figured they would speak for themselves. And they did. Messages started pouring in. Friends and family who saw the post said it all made sense now. They never believed what was said at the wedding. Some even told me they left early because of how nasty the speech was. Julia and Louis had hoped to turn everyone against me. But it backfired. The only people who ended up alone were them. Even my aunt, Julia's mother, stopped supporting them. After seeing the proof, she told them how disappointed she was and said she was cutting ties unless Julia apologized, and I accepted. They called me that night. Begging. Crying. Apologizing over and over. They said they could not afford to lose her help, especially with Julia's business failing. She had planned to take time off and rely on her mom even more. I did not say much. I was still too angry. I hung up and blocked them. They have been trying to reach me ever since. After my aunt cut her off financially, Julia got real nervous. Her whole plan fell apart. That is when she reached out to me, wanted me to forgive her, remove the post I shared, and smooth things over with her mom. She thought I could fix everything if I just said the word. But I was still upset about everything they had done. So I said no, and I blocked both of them. That did not stop them from trying, though. They kept finding new ways to get through emails, social media accounts, even fake ones, anything to get me to change my mind. And honestly, it has left me stuck. I do not know what the right thing is anymore. My aunt is a good woman. Honest, fair, strong. She called me the day after the wedding and told me how sorry she was about everything Julia had done. I told her I appreciated her saying that, and that I did not want our relationship to get caught in the middle of this. She meant a lot to me, and I was not going to let Julia ruin that. I know that if I reached out to her, she would probably forgive Julia and take her back in. But deep down, I do not feel like it is my place to fix things for Julia. She is nearly 30 years old. She should be able to clean up her own mess. She made her choices, and now the consequences are hers to carry. Still, I feel a little guilty about it. I know I could help, and choosing not to feels kind of heartless. I do not want to be that kind of person, but at the same time, I am tired of being the one who gets hurt while others walk away clean. So that is where I am stuck. I could speak to my aunt, and all of this would probably go away. But something about that just feels wrong. Maybe I am being petty. Or maybe, for once, I am just standing up for myself. I guess I am trying to figure out, am I the bad guy for refusing to help her after all she has done? Update 1. Hey everyone, thanks for all the support. Before I get into the next part of the story, I want to clear something up. Some folks were asking why my parents were even at the wedding. So here is the deal, they had no clue what was being said about me. Louis and Julia had been spreading those lies mostly to folks our age, cousins, younger relatives, people in our generation. They kept it quiet around the older family members. My parents are from the older crowd. They did not hear any of that stuff, just that things were rocky between me and Julia because she was dating my ex. But I never told them the full story. Just like I never told my aunt. I did not want to drag them into something that felt like high school drama. I thought I was being the bigger person by staying silent. So my parents went to the wedding out of respect for my aunt. But when they heard the speech, they got up and left. They were disgusted, just like everyone else. And now, they are not speaking to Julia or Louis either. So please, do not blame them, they were not part of the problem. Anyway, it has been a week since the wedding. I blocked Julia and Louis right after everything went down, so they cannot get in touch with me directly. But that has not stopped them from trying. They keep making new accounts, sending emails, anything to reach me. They are desperate. But I am not giving in. I am not getting involved. I have kept talking with my aunt. She told me straight up that she will not help Julia again unless I forgive her. But I do not think I should. For a whole year, I let those two run their mouths. I did not fight back. I let them talk, let them spread lies, let them try to twist the story to make themselves look good. I stayed quiet, thinking it would blow over. But they saw that as a green light to go even further. And now, they are facing the fallout. To be honest, I do not even think Julia deserves her mom's help. She is nearly 30 and still relying on her mother to keep her life together. That just does not sit right with me. It is not like she lacks education or ability. She is smart enough, talented enough, just too lazy to hold down a job. She has always been that way. Even back when we were fresh out of college, she was flaking on work all the time. I figured she would grow up eventually, but here we are. So maybe this is the wake-up call she needs. Maybe, in a weird way, I am doing her a favor. If her mom cuts off the money, she will have to step up and handle things on her own. That might be the best thing for her. I talked to my parents about all this. I told them I was feeling a bit guilty about not helping her, and they told me I had nothing to feel bad about. This is my call. If I do not think she deserves forgiveness, I do not have to give it. And it is not like she is totally out of options. Louis still has a decent job. If they really wanted to make it work, they could get by without her mother's help. But they do not want to do the work. They want someone to clean up their mess for them. Most of the people I have talked to, family, friends, even folks online, agree that I am not in the wrong here. That makes me feel better. I still think about it, but I am not losing sleep over it anymore. As for that post I made with the screenshots, I took it down. Not because I changed my mind, but because it did its job. Everyone saw it. Everyone knows the truth now. No need to leave it up for the world. It was causing too many questions from people who were not involved, and I did not want to explain the whole saga every time someone asked. Right now, I am just trying to get back to a calm place. I have been doing some meditating, trying to stay grounded and let the anger go. I want to focus on myself and move forward. And honestly, I hope Julia and Louis can do the same. They have spent way too much time trying to drag me down. Maybe it is time they finally got their own lives. Update 2. It has been about a month since the wedding now, and from what I have heard, Julia and Louis are right back to their usual behavior. Nothing has changed. My aunt is still not talking to them because I have not forgiven them, and now I am not sure I ever will. Their apology? It was not real. They did not mean a word of it. They just wanted money. That is all this has ever been about. Once they realized I was not going to fix things for them, they gave up trying to be nice and went right back to spreading more lies. This time, they got even more creative. Now they are telling people that I am trying to ruin their relationship with my aunt on purpose because I want all the inheritance for myself. It is laughable. Makes zero sense. My parents are doing just fine financially. I have a steady job and live comfortably. I do not need anyone's inheritance to survive. Maybe they do, and that is why they cannot stop thinking about it. But for me, that is just not how I live my life. Still, they keep bringing it up anytime they run into someone from the family. And since most of us live in the same town, that happens a lot. Even though people are avoiding them now, they find a way to bring me up every single time. I cannot wrap my head around it. Why are they so obsessed with me? I have not done anything in the last month. I have ignored every attempt they made to reach out. I have not mentioned their names or posted anything else. I have kept to myself. But they cannot let it go. Last week, I had enough. I called my aunt and told her what they were saying. She was furious. She said even if Julia did apologize now, she would not be taking her back. She blocked her daughter again and cut off all contact. And, as expected, that just made things worse. Julia and Louis were even angrier. I know that because they created another fake email account and sent me a message full of threats. That was the only way they could contact me anymore. They said they were going to make me pay for everything I had done. It was ridiculous. But also a little disturbing. I was not scared, but I was annoyed. I replied and told them straight, if they tried anything, I would call the police and press charges immediately. I was not going to mess around. Hopefully, that puts a stop to it. If not, well, I have a top-notch security system. Let them try something. I will be ready.